What's up, guys? Bullfire the Fell-Handed here, bringing you the Way of the Derp, Part 14. Here we are on Swamp. The greens have spawned on the northwest side. The reds have spawned on the southeast side. We have a 3-man KV2 Derp platoon, and we are high tier, so we can push around a little bit, see what's happening. Now, we are planning to go left flank here. And we do want to try to get, close with the reds as quickly as possible. The closer you are to your enemy with this gun, the better off you'll be. The higher chance you'll have of connecting with this monstrous weapon. Normally, of course, you don't want to get too close, typically because that's, when you get rushed and so on and so forth. And, perhaps if I was, 1 KV2, I would be concerned about getting rushed. I have multiple with me, as well as a herd of greens and fast tanks. Now, granted, of course, I know we cannot count on greens for much anything other than being greens. That's a paradox in itself. But we are going to go up here regardless and see what happens. See if we cannot perhaps derp someone as they push up. And that's the idea. Mainly, you want to try to derp people as they are moving in position, and that's what we're looking for here. We've got the scope on, we're looking, we know they're behind that rock. All we need them to do is move up and try to take that corner. The downside is there's a little hill here. We tried to derp, and it just didn't happen. I mean, and we kind of knew when we did it, it wasn't really going to happen. But what else are we going to do? So right now we're advancing and reloading, and that's what you always want to do unless you are actively engaged, is when you're reloading, always advance. Your tank is essentially useless, but if you are not engaged, you need to be getting up there, you need to be lining up that next shot. Have a poor guy here in the middle of the field. I took a few rounds there, we went ahead and put a derp into him. The green behind me is kind enough to back up, to let me to back up. It's not a good position for us because when we expose ourselves to fire, we are just taking so many rounds. The idea here is we're going to move up and maybe try to get in a little bit better position, go hold down a little bit more if we can. Speaking of updates and hold down and whatnot, I do like what Wargaming has done with this most recent update. If you notice, the tank was outlined. And, the reason they did that is typically the red and the green kind of bleed together when you're really shooting at someone hold down. This way you can kind of see, what's hold down and what's not. It's wonderful. I think it's a wonderful idea. I mean, I really agree with it. It's either this or go with that really purpley blue colorblind mode, which is what a lot of people did in order to shoot properly hold down. So, I think it was a good idea they had, and so on and so forth. Right now we're going to try to pull a side shot here, and this is one of those situations where we did not have time. We had to go ahead and take the shot, because if he kept going, he would have been out of view. He would have been behind the rock in the cover. He would have been safe. And that's not really what we're about. We're not about the Reds being safe at all. If you look at the teams, we're doing rather well. We're more or less taking apart their entire organization here, and we're making no bones about it. They've only got a few guys left. We're just more or less running around trying to finish them up, finish them off, make some things happen early on here. Actually, excuse me, that's not early on. The game has passed its adolescence, and we are now in endgame. We are just essentially looking for artillery and one extra tank. And, heading towards their cap is always a safe bet. Have an artillery way in the distance. The derp is unlikely. You've got a guy here giving up the side, and he stopped just in time. That's the type of situation that will just make you scream at the derp. The derp betrays you occasionally, and it would have been perfect side shot. You would have done untold damage to his tank, and it would have just been hilarious. So we end up derping him, and we just hit the mess out of him. And that's what we were looking for the first time. So it's why you always have to be cautious anytime you see KV2s on the team. Same thing as Death Stars. You just have to be cautious because that's a tank that can turn out your lights. We did okay this game, 1938, 0 blocked. We did, however, do 517 assists. Guys, thank you for watching The Way of the Derp. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you for watching.